morning, everyone. I would probably say that I'm an average student. I'm not one of those book-smart people who can read things once or listen to the instructor talk and remember everything that they say. I have to put in huge amounts of studying time and read things about 3 to 4 times just for me to understand it. When I was younger, my mother used to tell me to listen to classical music because it was supposed to help me study. Of course, being the little brat that I was, I wouldn't listen to her, and I just didn't really believe on how classical music would help me study. I just didn't really understand the connection, and I just didn't like classical music at all. I thought it was boring, and half the time it would put me to sleep. One time in high school, I had this huge economics test coming up, and I was freaking out because I could not understand economics for the life of me. I still can't, but I got through it in high school. It was a very hard subject for me. No matter how much I would try to remember the information or go to the instructor for help, I could not understand the basics. So I was studying for this one test, and I was getting very nervous, and I was getting very frustrated. So I decided to try the classical music thing. So I popped in a Mozart CD, and I started to study. Well, about 2 to 3 weeks later, my teacher was passing back the test, and I started to get really nervous. I thought I failed because a lot of the students around me were getting C's and D's. Then they were the smart ones around me, so I was freaking out. Well, I finally got my test back, and I ended up getting a B on the test, and I was very happy. I was super proud of myself. I was so thrilled that I went to my mom, and I told her exactly what I did to get that B on the test. And she just looked at me and smiled and had that look of, I told you so, but without really saying it, and I think those are the worst kind of looks. And of course, I just rolled my eyes, and I just said, yes, Mom, you were right. So today I would like to explain the research I found on how is it that classical music helps you study. The points I will touch base on is how the music affects your rhythm of the human body, your moods, and your memory. Finding out that Mozart's compositions are the pieces that have the most effect on the human brain. Several studies from Stanford University Medical Center said that Mozart music helps with cognitive moods and disorders. Now, what this means is that listening to Mozart's pieces can improve your ability to retain the information and improve your mood. When I study for a test, I'm usually all tense and stressed out because I realize that I have to remember such a large amount of information in such a short time. The same study that was done at the Stanford University said that the rhythm of the classical music raises the serotonin levels in the body. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that is involved in the transition of the nerve impulses that helps maintain the joyous feelings. So the rhythm of the music can release the stress and help you have a better state of mind when you're studying. Francis Rasher of the University of Wisconsin says that the rhythm is an important aspect of the music to study when you look to the responses to the music. There are 2 responses to the music. There is the actual hearing of the music and then the physical response to it. The response is hard to separate because they are so related that the other one cannot resist. They cannot exist without each other. The rhythm helps organize the physical movements in the human body. The rhythm in the body can be a heartbeat or the pace patterns of your walking, the steps that you walk. Another example of how the rhythm music affects the body is that a study of an autistic boy was done. He was learning how to tie his shoes. Well, he couldn't get it, so they decided to put one of Mozart's songs on. They were teaching him how to tie his shoes again, and when he was able to retain the information and the physical movements of how to tie his shoes along with the music. Now you think, okay, he has to listen to Mozart every time he has to tie his shoes. But what they decided to do was to basically fade out the music, so he would just retain the actual movements of tying his shoes. These classical pieces are to also help the brain organize information. For example, when you begin to study, the information you are studying activates the left side of the brain, while the music you are listening to activates the right side of the brain. When these activities are engaging both sides of the brain at the exact same time, this causes the brain to be more capable of processing the information. For example, the researchers of the University of North Texas performed a three-way test of postgraduate students to see if the music helps in memorizing vocabulary words. The first group was read words with Mozart's music playing in the background and was told to imagine the words. The second group was read these same exact words with Mozart also playing in the background, but was not told to imagine the words. And the third group was read the same words as well, but with no music and was not told to imagine the words. Now, they tested the groups right after and saw that group 1 and 2, who had the music playing in the background, did significantly better than group 3 did. But then a week later, they had the groups tested again and saw that group 1 still did better than group 2 and 3 because they were told to actually imagine the words. A Stanford University Medical Center observed a group of 10 people, 10 men and 10 women. They were put into a concert setting and listened to one of Mozart's symphonies with wandering attention. Researchers noticed that in a particular transition in the music, the group's attentions were arrested. This led researchers to believe that music can help people pay attention to either studying or a book that they're reading while they're listening to the music. Although listening to classical music will not make you a smarter person automatically, it can help your brain to improve its memory and your mood. As a personal note, I have definitely seen the upside to this. It has become just a habit to where every time I start to study, I pop in a Mozart CD. So if you just happen to think that you suck at studying and no matter how much, or that you suck at taking tests no matter how much you study, try putting in a Mozart CD while you're studying and before you take the test, and I bet you'll be surprised on how much information you remember. Thank you.
Russell, what did you think?
I thought overall she had a pretty solid speech. I thought her opening really went with what she was going to talk about. I thought when she got into her thesis that she did a nice job stating what she was going to talk about and also previewing the material. I thought that when she got to her actual content, I thought she did a really, really good job using all kinds of examples to support her reasoning. She used personal examples, she used statistics, she cited those sources, and she also had a really, really good organization, which was easy to really follow her speech. And as far as like delivery and presentation, I thought she did a nice job talking to us. She really engaged, she had a nice variety in her voice. Overall, pretty strong speech, I thought.
All right.
So,
All right, there are a lot of things that you just said that I think work well. I thought you had a nice job trying to relate to the audience at the beginning. You've told us a nice personal story. It identifies the topic. It helps build a little bit of credibility for you. I'm not sure what's controversial on this, and in fact, it sounds like a really good, informative speech. There is a little bit of suggestion toward the end that maybe we ought to try this, we ought to do this, something along those lines, so that kind of moves it into the persuasive category, but that's my biggest complaint about the presentation. But most of the things that Russell talked about I would probably agree with. I thought you did a good job citing your information, telling us what some of the research consisted of to make it interesting to us. You had some personal experiences that you relate to us, that's pretty effective. The delivery is solid. I think you project well, and your voice is actually involving. Your eye contact, I think when you're looking at us, you're really good, but you're not always looking at us. Frequently, you're going to the notes, and you're on the brink of being able to just kind of put that aside, but you're not quite there yet, so don't relax too much on that. I thought that, on the other hand, that there were some good indicators, and you did look pretty relaxed up there, although I didn't write this down, but I think if you'll notice the way you stand, you've got the one leg straight up and the other one out at an angle, and it just looks a little awkward. It doesn't look very natural. So I think, you know, be conscious of those things too. All right. Thank you.